Tesla just had one of the craziest single day runs we've ever seen it pull off. 14% for this company in a single day. Who could have seen this coming? Who, Tom? Maybe some guy who posted a video 5 days ago saying Elon just sent Tesla stock to the moon. Now, jokes aside, and that's not a joke actually, I did put out that video. Tesla just had an incredible run coming off of insane delivery numbers. They broke their own records. They shattered expectations. They went from 500,000 vehicles last year to 936,000 in a single year, in a COVID year, supply chain shortages, no chips, everybody's struggling, and yet they've almost doubled production and deliveries. Nobody knows how these guys do it, but they get shit done. Now, despite everything I just told you, Tesla is still grossly misunderstood and grossly undervalued by mainstream media, Wall Street, and a lot of retail investors. Because I think Tesla is about to have a breakout year in 2022, and I think a lot of people, again, will miss it. And I'm not talking about Gordon Johnson. I'm assuming this guy will be serving fries and burgers by the end of this year at a McDonald's. 93 price target, my guy? Really? I'm talking about everyday investors and Wall Street, which completely misunderstand how insane this is about to get. Now, we talked about Tesla being a $1,500 stock when it was $400. Now, slowly but surely, every single one of the big shops joined us. We got now everybody at $1,500 sitting nice and tight, but we have been there since $400. So, welcome aboard, step right in. Now I'm going to tell you why I think $1,500 is not going to be enough. I'm not going to change my target price today, but I have a theory that $1,500 is just going to be a stop in the road on the way to greatness. They're about to be the biggest, meanest, baddest, not an auto company ever. So check this out. My estimates for 2022 as far as deliveries was 1.5 million cars. I said it before these deliveries. Certain people agreed with me, but a lot of people called me crazy because I also said they'll do 1.5 with ease 2022, and a lot of people criticized me for saying that. Now, those same people are gone now after what happened, but the real question is, even if Wall Street adjusts, they're probably going to go up to 1.5 like I did, and I'm going to go way higher than this. I'm going to tell you that given what we just saw, I think Tesla potentially can get to 2 all the way to 3 million vehicles delivered in the next 2 years. And I'm going to tell you exactly how this is going to happen, but regardless of that path, I think 2022 is going to be an insane year for Tesla because of inflation. In fact, I think they're probably a company that's going to enjoy the inflationary pressures more than anybody else because they're going to see the competition crumble and they're going to be basically increasing capacity, getting more sales, and completely not cutting into their margins. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So check this out. Basically, right now we have 936 vehicles coming out. So let's say 1 million. Now, factor in Berlin and Austin. That's another 2 million vehicles in the next 2 years. The pace isn't going to be a fixed rate. It's probably going to be a little bit on the exponential side, but let's say there's another 2 million in capacity. So probably 1.5, and that's a conservative estimate for next year, and probably 2.5 to 3 million in the year after that. Now, a lot of people who thought that 1.5 is an outlandish number now will have to admit that 1.5 million for 2022 is a conservative number, and that's fine. But here's the kicker here. This year is going to be extremely inflationary. And if you're really honest with yourself, 2023 is probably also going to be insanely inflationary. So this is going to separate the boys from the men, the strong companies from the weak-ass companies. And let me tell you exactly what's going to happen. The companies with high margins, the companies that can raise prices and not lose demand, the companies with low debt and high cash, and the companies that can increase production capacity without spending capex are going to do phenomenally better than anybody else in the market. And if you listen carefully, I just described to you Tesla because the margins are getting better, and I'm going to talk about it in a second, but their margins are already at a very nice place. But just forget the margins. Let's talk about price sensitivity, which is none in Tesla. They've already raised prices. The waiting list have not become shorter. And I'm assuming they'll do a few more price increases just to keep up with inflation because, as you know, in inflationary times, cost of capital goes up, cost of goods goes up, cost of production goes up. and they'll roll it over to the customers, which will gladly pay because this is a superior product. Now, they've been telling us the Germans are coming for the past 5 years. I'm assuming they'll keep telling us while Tesla keeps killing it. So their customer base isn't price sensitive. So price increases are definitely not going to impact demand. Also, they have 2 more million capacity already in place with Berlin and Austin, which will cost them $0 to actually get rolling because they've already invested this money when cost of capital was cheap. They've completely reduced debt. They've been really busy repaying their debts. And if you actually understand the Tesla model, you understand that the Fremont factory is probably a dinosaur at this point because their gross margins on those cars from Fremont is somewhere in the vicinity of 20%. Now, the gross margins of the cars that are going to be coming out of China, out of Austin, out of Berlin is about 40%. So if I'm correct, in Q4 numbers that are going to come out in a few weeks, I hope, in the financials, we'll see a spike or at least a significant increase in gross margins because more cars are coming out of China, which has better margins than Fremont. It's a modernized factory, which basically, it's easier, cheaper, and faster to build in a modern, dedicated factory cars than in Fremont, which is a converted place. They kind of, half-assed just to get things started. Now, when Austin and Berlin join, they give you the same amount of gross profit, which is about 40% gross margin. Now, those extra 2 million vehicles is not just extra 2 million vehicles. They're an extra 2 million vehicles over the next 24 months, which are coming with a 40% gross margin. Again, in inflationary times, these high margins are everything you need to survive because that basically gives you the cushion. Now, whether you think inflation is going to be horrible, whether it's not going to happen, Tesla is going to kill it. But if you add in Tesla taking lunch from the auto manufacturers and inflation basically pushing on everybody else but the companies who prepared for this, which is Tesla, it's an insane setup. I think we're going to hit my target price of $1,500 quite soon. And I think we'll have to reevaluate the company in 2022, I believe in the first half. And then again, we're going to be ahead of the pack, going at a higher price, and then everybody will catch up. And still to this day, I don't understand how people just see money lying on the ground, completely ignore it, and just keep walking. This is literally what's going on when you don't invest in Tesla. But again, just my opinion, might be inaccurate, might be wrong, might be the ramblings of a madman, might be, completely nonsense. You have to do your research. I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not a financial advisor. Just sharing with you my opinion. I'm a guy on the internet with a sweater, It is what it is. As always, huge shout out to the channel members and the patrons. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.